Oh, oh, good. We're rolling. All right. This is a special Socially Awkward with Evan Wecksell. To those of you who are watching the video, I rarely video this, but you know what? It's good to have a conversation with a Facebook friend that you've never spoken to for more than probably 2 seconds. So
For sure.
we're doing it today. We're doing it today.
Yay!
I'm in LA. You're in Brooklyn.
Yep,
And
Brooklyn.
we're gonna talk all our current events and everything else. But without further ado, I'd like to welcome. Pretty self-explanatory. You can't have a bad life when you have the first name that you have. This is Princess Serrano. Is that
Yes.
right? Yes.
Hi, yes, Serrano. That's
Nice.
good. That's good. So
So-
yes, hi guys. My name is Princess Serrano, as he said. I'm from Brooklyn, originally born and raised.
No way.
Yeah, but I've traveled. I've actually been a lot of places, but this is home to me. So I'm
Yeah.
in Flatbush Gardens right now, living my best life during this quarantine.
Sure.
I think you know that. I think because you're in a city too, so you know that quarantine in here is pretty insane.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, on our states especially. So different type of quarantine, but still it's been stressful, I think, on our states a lot. And maybe we're the top two.
I think it's deeper because so New York, you know, we have to commute. So
Yeah.
I think there's too many people in close proximity.
Sure.
So it's like if we actually go outside, we have a higher chance of getting it. Like you shouldn't even walk outside. But I'm a rebel. I told myself that I want my kids to be like, what did you do during the pandemic? And I'm like, oh, I went out. I went to a protest. I did a lot of things. So I just want them to know that I wasn't like afraid.
Do you think you've had it yet, or not worried about it?
Actually, I definitely believe I had it. My mom actually got it in the earlier stages back in March.
Yeah.
And so did my aunt. And we were really afraid. She was in the hospital for a couple of days, but she wasn't on the ventilator. She just had bad breathing. So
yeah.
But she pulled through, and so did my aunt. But it was really scary. I think the scariest thing is like the self-quarantining of yourself, because you go from worrying about one person to now, once you're done worrying about them, you realize, oh crap, I might die. But thankfully my symptoms were extremely mild. I just really fatigued. I had a slight fever for a couple of days, and then I recovered quickly.
Yeah, I think it may have been more the flu. I think I had something while I was doing a show in Georgia. So I think I was just like wiped out I needed to definitely nap an hour before I headed off to the show. And then when I got there, I was like, I'm just going to eat all the food the activity board put out. I don't know how I got through that show, but after the show, I could not move. I was like sitting at a table. I'm like, here, just take a photo of me eating strawberries, because I'm not going anywhere for like 20 minutes. And then like, I just went straight back to the hotel, nothing else, just straight to bed, because it was like chills and shivering. And so maybe I didn't have a throat thing. So I don't know if it was that, but you know, something made its way. So.
No, I think that the craziest thing is after Corona, we stopped realizing that there were other codes. So like if your throat was scratchy, oh my God, it's the Corona.
Yeah.
If you're like have a fever, oh my God, it's the Corona. Like you just freak out so much. If you cough more than 3 times, oh my God, you have the Corona.
Yeah, it's like the Starbucks of illnesses. It's like everywhere now. It's like, nope, all the mom and pop diseases are being bought up, and now they're being replaced with a Starbucks being put in.
Exactly. But you brought up an interesting point that you got it. You think you got it from like eating food, like at a public event.
I think I thought I had bad sleep the night before, but like I was traveling, so I was like on flights, and you know I was at a point in February where like maybe 20% of the people were wearing masks on the flight. So I didn't really think nothing of it. And I thought it was fine. I mean, a few days later I was pretty fine. But you know, it's just, you know, you're on the way up the curve. So that's just, you ride the wave.
I will say though, I feel like it's ending, but it may just be because of the weather. I think we're all just like, the weather's nice. It's gone now. But I don't know. I don't know the true correlation between that. But I'm going to go hope it is, because I really would.
I have definitely some like testy things to say about that, only because it'd be the kind of thing that like Mark Zuckerberg would say no to me on Facebook for saying. So I was going to like, I think like we just kind of, there's a big agreement that kind of went into this whole thing. And, you know, we were on the side of caution, but you know, it's rough because you're obviously taking a lot of healthy people and you're putting them in the unhealthy category as well. So that's rough. It's just rough for everyone. So you said you went to school and we met. Oh, yeah, let's go over how we met. This is our first conversation ever. Maybe I commented on one post of yours like 10 years ago or something, but
yeah, you were just like, happy birthday. And I was like, thanks. Like, probably.
Sometimes I just have one day where I'm like, you all get happy birthdays today.
No, honestly, I'm the same way. And then there are other days where I'm like, not today.
No.
You got here. How did it come back?
Nothing.
Exactly.
I'll comment on the person saying happy birthday to themselves, saying thank you for all the birthday wishes. I'll comment and be like, right there with you, buddy.
No, I'm definitely that person. Like, I've only said it now that you've already said it.
Yeah. So now we're both. When's your birthday so people can know this ahead of time?
Oh, November 3rd. I'm a Scorpio, guys.
Oh my gosh, election day. How symbolic. You were gonna...
I know, right? It's perfect for the topic.
Yeah. So
God must have known.
Totally. And now you've already like fingerprinted that we've met at a NACA conference.
Yes.
Because you went to, where was your West Virginia school?
I went to Bethany College, which is
okay, small.
Tiniest part of West Virginia. And actually what's crazy, and I think it kind of goes to what we're going to talk about today. I went there in 2009, and when I came, the population of diverse individuals was about 4%, with 3% of them being male. So there was like not a lot of Black women at my college when I came in.
Right.
But throughout the years, it started to increase. And when I graduated, it was at 24%. And the only reason I know this is because I was the VP marketing. I was VP of marketing for a student activities council. So it was my job to know the demographics. So I knew who to tailor to. Yeah. But I always had a hidden agenda. Like we were speaking earlier, I always want to, put Black culture and mostly New York culture into spaces that they weren't before. So I was really excited to like go to NACA and see you and see Ethan and Dave doing you guys' comedian stuff. So.
Yeah, so I went to high school with Ethan and Dave Adute, Ethan Fixell. Dan Adute was a year older than me. That was Dave's brother. Then I was there, and then Dave is 2 years younger than me. Ethan's 3 years younger than me, the same year as my sister. But it's funny, like Dan, he does TV out here now, and he took over NACA for a few years, just like Dave and Ethan had their thing. Did you bring Dave and Ethan to your school?
Yeah, they did. They came to our school and did
like a dating thing.
Show. And I actually went to a couple of their shows when they were performing at the Pit.
Oh, nice. An improv. Yeah.
Yeah, improv.
Nice.
Improv theater for people who don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hip. Yeah. So that's good. You met them, and I guess I'm guessing maybe I held up like a free hug sign at NACA or something, and maybe that stuck out to you, and that's why we're Facebook friends.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's how
just know if you were dope and you got in. You got in through the door. It's a tough barrier to get in, and you got
in the Princess Palace.
Boom.
Boom. It's the store. It's like one big P on the front, like you're in.
Pretty much, and really pretty cursive too.
Yeah, so that's good. It's nice in Brooklyn. We're going through right now. Where the last few days we have curfew throughout the county, 6 p.m. It's all shutting down.
Put a curfew out for New York City today.
Yeah.
So our curfew is starting at 11 p.m., which is later than most. But still, it's kind of ironic because we're still kind of in the middle of quarantine. So what are you really doing after 11 p.m.? Honestly, there's nothing to do. But they just announced it on the Citizen app, which is where I get all my news because
it's good. It's very New York, I think.
Yeah.
And then I saw on your page, is it Nets? You're a Nets and a Knicks fan, or is it just one now?
Oh, I'm just a Knicks fan. I like the Nets, but I'm still like, you guys used to be in Jersey, so are you New Yorkers? No.
Totally.
But I tell everyone I am not an ETS fan, so I'm not a Jets, Mets, Net.
Okay. I'm Jets. I got my Jets thing on, but that's I knew a player. I'm friends with the former player, so. But my sister went to school with like a athlete's kid when they were growing up, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave the Giants and go to the Jets. But You want to see the
Um,
city do well. You want to raise morale. I don't get people that hate one and they wish poorly on the other, like while they have
it is
theirs.
what it is, you know. I think it makes for good fun when you go to the bars.
Yeah.
Because I
Okay.
am the loudest.
Yeah. Now, as this in the, I guess in the past week's been very crazy, and
Yes.
definitely want you on. I mean, uh, obviously, I want to hear your experience. Like, what have been the prevailing thoughts going on in your head over the last week,
Mhm.
from like George Floyd dying to organizing to peacefully
Attending.
protesting to violently rioting and all this stuff? What's been your gamut of emotions? Is there a certain way to look at this from, or what have you been experiencing yourself?
So I think I should just start with my first initial reaction to the
Sure.
video. When I saw it, my stomach dropped because you can clearly see that he was not really. I mean, regardless of why you were, arresting him, it just from the videos he looked very compliant,
Right.
and he was not like aggressive at all. He was begging and pleading and saying please. I think what hit me the most when I watched that video was the
Yep.
last thing he ever said, which was him crying for his mom.
Damn.
And that hit me so hard because, I mean, for anyone, whenever you're like really, really fearful for a grown man
Yeah.
to be calling out to their mother, like on his final breath, that was just, it was honestly so traumatic. But I think what I've been telling a lot of people is
Yeah.
like when it comes down to these protests and when it comes down to like what's happening and why everyone's erupting, I think that yes, Black Lives Matter. And yes, like this has been going on for so long and this is such an injustice. But what the main thing that I'm realizing with these specific movements, as opposed to all the other movements,
Right.
is the bottled up energy of not just the Black Lives Matter movement, but also the pandemic.
Sure.
People are going through so much right now, emotionally, because people we've lost our jobs. I haven't, thank God, but people have lost their jobs. People can't pay rent, and I believe the eviction ban was lifted today, so people are starting to get evicted from their
Oh
homes.
wow.
So it's like, yeah, so it's just like it's just been all of that bottled up energy of being locked in and being isolated, and then seeing this, I just think that the pandemic added on a bit of aggression, a bit of like pent up energy. So I think that this outburst was really not just people being upset about Black Lives Matter, but being upset about the whole situation, and like where the state of 2020 is. So that's my take on the video. But I
Yeah.
did go to protests on Friday.
You went to a protest on Friday?
I
Cool. How
did.
was it? What part of Brooklyn?
So I went to the protest that was on by the Barclay Center.
Right.
And I'm gonna be pretty honest, I stayed pretty clear from everyone because I mean it was still Corona, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to risk it, because I have pets. I'm not trying to bring anything home. But going out there, it was really nice, honestly. It was very peaceful when I got there. I got there at 6:15. It started at 6.
Hmm.
And it was very, very peaceful. People were chanting, of
Sure.
course, but what I realized was pretty interesting was there were not a lot of Black people. There were more Caucasian Americans and
Wow.
Hispanics. So it was I want to say it was very diverse, but there was a large amount of Caucasians there. And
Yeah.
I won't say, like, I'm glad that they're there and I'm glad that you guys are supportive, but from the videos that I've been seeing, because I did leave early, because I saw that when we were standing closer to where the rest of the crowd were, there were a bunch of cops. Like there had to be like maybe like 200 to 300 cops just on
Yeah.
this one section alone. And some were on bikes, some weren't on bikes, some were in cars, some weren't in cars. But within 30 minutes of the protest, they kept inching in closer to the crowd,
Oh wow.
like pushing us all in one spot. And I was fearful because I didn't want to be barricaded with everyone in case something happens.
Right.
So I crossed the street and I watched as they barricaded everyone in and kind of created like a forefront circle. But
Whoa.
people were really, really upset. People were going into the cops' faces and cursing them out. Oh my God. I saw this guy, he was just pleading, like, why? Like, he went on his knees, like, why would you do this? And I could definitely understand that, because, like, why would you do that? You know, like
Yeah.
me, I'm a woman of color. Like, that could be my brother. That could have been my uncle. That could have been, you know,
Sure.
and aside from just race alone,
Yeah.
that's a human being. You know what I mean? Like, that's a person, that's someone's loved one, and no one deserves to be treated this way. And for us, we've been treated this way for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think that everyone, they think of racism as just overt racism. So that's just
Right.
outwardly, maybe yelling N words, doing like verbal things. But what's been happening so far within the last 20 years is a lot of covert racism, and it comes in line with the hair. So a lot of people not being able to wear their natural hair,
Yeah.
or in the workplace. Oh, you sound really white for a Black girl, things like that.
Yeah.
And I get it all the time. Like, oh, wow, you speak so well. Did you go to private school? No, I'm from East New York, like Brooklyn,
Jeez.
like the hardest, roughest part of Brooklyn. But I don't think that the way I speak should be like a testament to like my upbringing, or like
Like your
my race.
IQ or your quality
Yeah,
as a human being. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And especially in New York, like I get it all the time. Like one time I was in the city, and this older woman, she came and spoke to me, and she just like, she kept commending me on how proper I spoke, and then proceeded to like like, I mean, she dogged Black people. And
Whoa.
I had to tell her about herself in the most polite way, because I'm not trying to curse out an old lady, but at the same time, I'm just like, ma'am, your racism is showing, and I need you to turn it down.
Yeah. Now, as you've seen college entertainment, I mean, I don't know how much men made it onto campus, but like if people make those kind of like Lisa Lampanelli kind of like black jokes, like those, do you laugh at those, or they just don't fly, or you kind of like consider it the nature of the beast? Like,
So I try my best not to be one of those people that I don't lash out at people. I will
right,
say that. Not unless you're being blatantly ignorant.
right.
I think for me, a lot of because I'm in a sorority. I'm in Zeta Tau Alpha,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's a very predominantly white sorority.
Yeah, it's a national one. Yeah, I'm Greek also.
Yeah, very. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So my sisters, I love my sister to death, but they would ask me questions about like my hair, and why was it switching every 5 seconds, and what are these extensions, and can I touch them? And I let them touch, because they, like, it's not that they don't know, and I have started to get a little offended, because I'm just like, in this day and age, you can Google,
Right.
you can,
Yeah.
but I think. But at the time when I was younger, like in my early 20s, and like young, or like late 19 or 18-year-old, I'm
Yeah.
just like, all right, I'll let you touch. Obviously you're confused, you don't know what, and I can like at least guide you in the right direction, so I
Yeah.
can like tell you things, and inform you of things, and tell you my viewpoints, and hear your viewpoints. And I think for me, what I tried to do while I was in college was really bridge that gap,
Hmm.
and trying to like create like safe spaces for both Black and white peoples, but mainly safe spaces for Black people, because again, we went to college in West Virginia, and
Yeah.
it was like there were some people on that campus that were just
They
so
didn't know.
overtly racist
Yeah.
that, but I didn't let it get to me. And I was so open to those conversations. I had many diversity panels, and we made so many open spaces where people can get whatever they're feeling off their chest, especially in the dialogue of race. And I think that, it really helped, because till this day, there's a Black Alliance that I started that now is Black Student Union, but
Yeah.
that was created by me and my peers.
Right.
So we created the foundation for a lot of, Black people to be able to feel just a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I think the best comparison I've ever heard a Black person say about is that being Black can be a full-time job.
Uh-oh, you're
Where,
breaking up.
oh, sorry, now am I okay?
You're perfect.
All right, so now, yeah, I was watching Pardon the Interruption, and Michael Wilbon, one of the guys on the show in ESPN, he said like
Mm-hmm.
being Black is like a full-time job, because it's not like it's something you hide. Like you can't, it's like you are that. Like you can't like, hey, did you know that I was Black? Like, duh. Like, you see that.
I could definitely relate because I joined the track team because I ran track when I was in high school. So I was like, oh, let me join the team in college and see how it goes. But the cultural and like the conversations we were talking about, I'm just like, I was not into it. Like all the girls were like, oh my God, I'm so pale and I need to get a tan. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a tan too. Like, what am I gonna say to that? Like, there's really no ways that we could really relate,
You just gotta let them get their tan, I think.
Yeah,
Just
do
point
your
them
thing, girl.
point
Go
them to
ahead,
the
have
nearest
fun.
salon, let them do their thing, and they'll come back.
Exactly. I was the person that went to the beach with 2 towels because I just was like, too much sun is not good for me. Like I just don't like it. And I actually burn. So that's another myth buster. I actually burn all the time.
We're
Like my
breaking
shoulders
down, we're
burn.
myth busting today. Yes.
For sure. Like I get so many sunburns, believe it or not. Like, oh my God. And when I did that summer in Florida, oh God, I had to just wear sweatshirts. I was just like this is just how I'm gonna be in Florida because I was peeling. It was bad and
Oh
it
my
hurt.
gosh.
Yeah, it was really bad. So the sun doesn't discriminate.
No. The
Newsflash.
sun hates everyone. No.
Everyone. It burns all.
Sun's one big antifa. Anyway, what was I gonna ask you then? Could there have been like a better way then? Did like, I mean, I look at it like, I feel like the violence was not part of what the protest was. I look at it like the violence was like just some additive of people taking advantage of of an occasion where you knew you'd have a big population. I mean, do you feel like this whole thing's kind of been like tainted because there's this whole other component of like,
I think
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that I think that people forget that in every single protest, it doesn't matter who's protesting, there is gonna be violence. There is
Yeah.
going to be people who do things that was not with the cause. And also you have to understand that when people do protest, they have their select group that they've invited.
Right.
And people that they know and organizations, they recruit people.
Right.
But there are still outside people who, like myself, like I wasn't a part of any of the organizations, but I came because I felt the need to support. Something that I've noticed, and I might get a lot of backlash and maybe.
Sure.
But,
I'll backlash you back to balance it out.
But I think that there were some people that were going into these protests with the direct thoughts of creating violence and creating ruckus. And also, it's not just the protesters who went in with that mindset. There were cops that went in the same way. So there's people are going to be violent on both hands. And I've been telling everyone like throughout this entire week as we've been Facebook battling it out.
Yeah.
I was telling them that, this is a really tragic situation that's been going on for 400 plus years. We have not gotten it right yet. And we've had some progress, but you can't tell someone how to react. You can't create a situation and then say, okay, I don't want you to be too upset because, like you can't do that. You can't tell people how to react to things. They're going to react the way they're going to react. And you just like, it's just a part of life. Like that's just any situation and not just with these protests. Like if you smack someone, do you think they're just going to sit there and be like, ouch, that hurt? Like, no. Some people are going to be really upset. So you can't really, like try to control that. And I think that what I'm seeing a lot on Facebook is a lot of people are upset because of all of the violence. And I understand that, no one wants to see violence. But the thing is, we're out here because of violence. Right. We are literally here because there is a certain group of people who has made it their mission to hold us down and to oppress us on so many levels, both financially, like social, economically, like school-wise, like they've been holding us down or trying to at least, and enough is enough. I'm just hoping that something comes out of this. I'm wondering what the demands are.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, like, I mean, I saw like, I think your last post had I went to the petition for Black Lives Matter. And there were like the 3 things you wanted to do. I don't remember them off the top of my head. One of them I think was like to defund the police.
I'm actually gonna pull it up.
Yeah, you want to pull it up? That's fine. Because because obviously, yeah, we march for change. We wear our black patches for change. Kobe wore the "I Can't Breathe" shirt for change. How do
Mhm.
we the thing is, like, how do we legislate it? It's sometimes we get caught in the, like, the idea phase, and like
Mhm.
the actionable steps get left behind every single time, where, like, and the thing is, like, the news will never give you the solution.
Yeah.
They'll just be like, okay, here's another shooting, let's talk about gun reform, or here's another, protest, let's talk about police brutality. But, like, what, yeah,
I
like, does
I
does the
think for me,
petition,
what I did sign the petition,
yeah,
but something that I'm thinking they need to do is they need to reform, like create some type of procedure where police are being policed.
yeah, like
Because
an
I don't think that they're,
indoctrination, yeah,
yeah,
like,
like or like a code of conduct thing. I was thinking because with the gentleman who killed George Floyd, what's his name? Chauvin, Derek Chauvin.
Derek Chauvin, yeah, something like that,
Chauvin.
yeah.
Fuck him. Let me stop. Like seriously.
I'll leave it in because
Let's
I
give it
like
all the
you.
truth. No, but he has had a history of they said that he has the most deaths through
Whoa.
interaction and was reported for it. Yeah, he had like when they looked in his background and like the reports. So people have been reporting him for years, and he has been getting away scot free. So it's just like there are so many other cops who've been reported and nothing's being done about it. What's the point of having reports if you're just going to brush them under the rug? There needs to be like real ramifications. I want you to lose your pension. I need you to lose your job. I need you to lose something that makes you really feel this. But the only fear is if they
Yeah,
lose they're going to be create like more hate. But I don't care. I need
like a
something to be
sentiment,
done.
yeah, if the lawsuit comes through and you're held liable, yeah, it can come out of the pension, or because right now
Yeah.
there's only like jurisdiction within the police department itself. I guess you could
Mhm.
create like a centralized
Mhm.
review board of,
Yeah.
experienced police officers reviewing case, almost like maybe a Supreme Court of police
I
in
definitely, I think it needs
some
to be done on
regions.
a federal level. Yeah. Because I think for all cops, they all act on a very like city by city. So it's
Yeah,
like it needs to be a federal law needs to be passed to really, really deal with these types of men, women, or whomever.
sure.
Like something really needs to happen. And I think what's upsetting is that we always have these protests, we always have these marches, and I know
Mhm.
that they're doing a lot of things on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
but I just need it to be more on the forefront. I need a lot of people to start making the demands, and I don't think that we really make like true grit demands, and that's kind of like have been our downfall is we meet up to
Right.
protest.
We protest, but then, like, I guess there's like probably has to be steps where, like, how can I meet with my representatives to,
Yeah,
like, bring something forward so it's not just like lobbying special
yeah,
interests
and I
about
was
it.
just about to say that like that's literally the most I've ever seen is a lot of lobbying. But I mean, there has been some changes. I think
Yeah.
we've been battling a lot of different changes. So in New York, I'm sure you're familiar with the stop and frisk.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of cops have tried to, not cops, but who was it that was trying to bring it back? I think Trump was mentioning it and trying to bring it back. And I think
Yeah.
even Pelosi was like, no, you can't, don't bring that back because we just abolished it for a reason. Like there's a reason why we're not doing this
Maybe like the
anymore.
mayor, did Bloomberg start it and then maybe, or did Blasio stopped it, or
Yeah, something along those lines.
I
But I
don't know
think
if that's
everything to
inaccurate.
do is probably, I feel like we should Google. Maybe we'll get, and maybe
I don't
by
have a research intern yet, so we're gonna get in the
no,
comments.
I'll
Let me
definitely
know
give you some
who
points
gets
later
blamed.
on. I
Yes.
can email them and you can recite them at a later date and
Yeah.
time. But the point is, there has always been little stuff like that, stopping frisk, like little things like that that have been specifically geared towards like
Profiling.
black, yeah, exactly, national profiling. Like, did you see the Central Park Five? And all of these cases are now coming to light. But in the 80s, this is literally all they were doing. And now we're just shining light on it. Like, did you think that NWA made Fuck the Police because they hated the police? Like,
Yeah.
no, this has been going on for such a long time.
Yeah.
And if you really think about it, because like a lot of people are saying like, well, why don't you guys like build your own? Or they say like, leave the country if you don't like it here.
Yeah, like I get taught that. Like I ran for office in California just because I didn't like what's going on in California. But I have like friends that are leaving California. I'm like, dude, once they're done with California, they're gonna come to your state too. They're gonna make it. They're gonna follow you there. But yeah, we definitely need to. You can't just like bail from the country. I mean, I'd love to live in Sweden as much as the next person, but you know,
Well, my thing is America's all I know.
yeah,
So how can you tell me to leave my home?
right.
This is my home too. And I think that they're not realizing that, or some people are not realizing that we have been here for 400 plus years now.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. You can't tell us to leave. We
Yeah.
are here. You leave. You know what I mean? Like, you don't tell us to leave. You leave.
I have some extra miles you can use because my flights were all canceled.
Oh my God. Do not get me started. I'm devastated on all right now. We're not going to get into that conversation.
No. Yeah.
The tears will start falling.
No.
But no, like really, like honestly, I just don't understand why they say what they do. And like where do you want me to go? Like, no, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. You have to deal with me, and you need to just, stop being so ignorant.
Yeah.
To who we are, and also just get to know us. But I want to ask, what is your take on everything that's been going on?
Oh boy. Well, I would say there are some good visuals I've seen out there. But I do know there's been things popping up where they've had like these like pallets of bricks and stones found on like the street.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were put there like the day of. And so that way when they make it to your town, oh, pick up a brick, throw it through a store window. Woo. I
was going to talk about that because and this is kind of what's going to lead to when I was saying that there were a lot of white people at the protest.
Yeah.
There were a lot of white people who were vandalizing, and I don't think that they were there for the cause.
That's right.
And maybe there were some black people too. I'm not going to say that it's one race over the other, but I will say that there were definitely some people who came with a direct intent. And I think that like those pile of bricks and like those people who are vandalizing, there was a video of a woman who was literally filming two white women vandalizing Starbucks. First of all,
right,
we're not going to vandalize Starbucks. That's not like
the prices are the prices. Just deal with it. Make it extra. Get a gift card for your birthday from Starbucks.
My thing, what am I gonna do? Break the window and make me a coffee? Like, there's no gain there.
There's not even any nice graffitiing. No one's like graffitiing hearts or promo codes for Amazon. It's like this is all vile.
No, but the video really showed. She's like, stop. Like, we didn't ask you guys to do this. Like, I understand that you want to be with us, and I get that. But even me, like, when I go out to protest, I do not go out with the intent to vandalize. But do I frown upon the people who vandalize? No, I don't. And that is something that, like, I don't, because like I've been saying, you can't control someone's anger. Like, you might see it as a protest, but you don't know how long that rage has been sitting in someone's body.
Right.
You don't know what they've been going through. You don't know who they've lost. It's more than just cops brutalizing us, because yes, they're like, George Floyd died, but there's so many broken homes because they have been for about 30 years arresting our Black fathers, our men, our leaders. I can tell you that I am a product of a single mom.
Yeah.
And it was solely because there were just not a lot of male figures who were able to, not be arrested or be harassed by the cop. And she did live in a different time because she was born in the 50s. So she was raised right in the middle of the integration settings. And she could tell you stories about Brooklyn and how she couldn't walk into neighborhoods in Brooklyn without being chased out by BAPT with certain races and mostly white people. So like, we have been on this uphill battle, for a very long time, and we are tired and we are frustrated. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, well, slavery happened so long ago, and once integration started, like, we're all good, we're fine, like, racism is over. But as I've been saying, covert racism is the new racism. The criminal justice system is the new Jim Crow. And everybody can clearly see it, that no matter what year it is, the goals and the mission has always been the same. And that is to oppress people of color, not just Black people, brown people, yellow people. It's to oppress people of color. And it should not be that way, especially since we've all been like, there's a lot of mixed babies and we've all been intermingling. So, like, at this point, you have to have someone that's Black in your family. There is no pure whites anymore, like, at this point. Like, so just stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's also some good visuals sometimes. Whenever I can find stuff that can kind of calm the storm, like I saw some good stuff where a bunch of black men were protecting a police officer who was
I
separated from
loved
his
it. I
group,
clapped for it. I was so
or
happy with
or
that.
the guy like they're hugging
Hmm.
police officers, white police officers comforting a black male, and they're like, it's all right, we'll hug it out. Or
Or the
there was
cop kneeling. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one where I think they turned a protest into like a barbecue in like Kansas. They turned like
Yeah.
a so that was I think it's always good to find that stuff and share it as well. It's rough. It just pushes so many buttons, and it's just kind of like,
Mhm.
you're just putting another layer on the cake every time.
Yeah,
And
I always get really nervous when I repost stuff because like when I see something that I agree with, I'm like, yep, I agree with
yeah,
that. Like I think I posted something today and it was like, hold on, I'm gonna read it because it
sure,
actually sparked a lot of controversy.
sure. We can,
And I had like a lot of
it's a
arguments.
safe space here.
But it was a post that said, "Dear white people, stop using Dr. King Jr. as an example of peaceful protest. You shot him too."
Ah,
And that's heavy because it's true. But someone was kind of like countering me and saying like, we don't know if it was actually a white person who shot him. I'm like, dude, it's on Wikipedia. Google, please. Like, relax. Like, everybody knows. And regardless of that, you know that he was killed or assassinated. So it was definitely planned,
right,
assassinated because he was protecting Black people,
right,
like, and fighting for our rights.
right.
So there's no other reason why you would have killed him. I wonder what
Mhm.
he would have been like had he been alive
Yeah.
today and been able to
Yeah,
fulfill the
saying
things.
his family's alive. Like, obviously, I don't know if the wife is still alive. I'm not
I know the
sure.
daughter is still alive, and
Yeah.
she's actually been tweeting out a lot of stuff,
Oh, that's good.
just pretty much saying along the same breath of this post that like, don't quote my father if you're not really for the cause, and that's like her energy on it, and I
Yeah,
respect
yeah, and I saw a document come out in LA. They like I saw spreadsheets like support these black-owned restaurants,
that.
which is kind
Hmm.
of tough because with the vandalism, like I had a friend, they own a clothing store in LA, and like they were vandalized, they lost some merch,
Hmm.
didn't look that bad. But the thing is, like some of these businesses, you're just throwing bricks in them, and some of them are black owned businesses. So you're looking at like this is like a black person that put his whole family's life savings into this restaurant, and then you're setting it ablaze. And I'm assuming a lot of these people have insurance, but
Hmm.
it's tough. Like once it's like one if you want to, it's like the levels of vandalism. Like you want to spray paint something, you want to get a message out, fine. But if you want to throw a brick through a window, that's something else. If you want to throw a brick through a window, then raid the inventory, then pull it out. Because in Target, like a lot of those TVs are tagged, so you can
Yeah.
like track down who's taking them.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's just gonna it just man I feel like down in the long run, I don't it's rough for me, but I mean I get the pain. I get like like what's gonna happen when this happens again, because we're gonna keep filming it and we're gonna keep
Hmm.
showing it, and if there's no like extra regulations or oversight put in,
Hmm.
you're just setting yourself up for more. So
I'm
it's rough.
actually trying to find a post that I saw on the
Sure.
Shade Room, and it was about a gentleman who in Minnesota he owned a restaurant. It was a Thai food restaurant, I believe. Of
Yeah.
course, I know that. And pretty much what he was saying, he wrote like, "Yes, my business has been ruined, and it's okay. I feel like I would butcher it, but he was just speaking along the lines that, yeah, I lost my business today, and yeah, you guys destroyed it, but you know what? I'm gonna be able to rebuild. I
Right.
understand why you guys were doing what you're doing, and I support you." He said, "Don't worry about me. I will be okay, and we will rebuild." And I think it was really big because he was saying this around his daughter, and his daughter even quoted him like, you know, he understands that this is not just about the violence. Like,
Right.
this protest is so much bigger than just the riots,
Right.
and I think that that's what's so upsetting about everyone's arguments is how are you so and it's been this way with every single protest we've done, even when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling,
Yeah.
who were so quick to judge like the negatives of the protest that they didn't even stop to think about why they're hurting, like, and why this protest is even taking place.
Yeah.
What's even more upsetting too is they're telling us, oh, that wasn't a peaceful protest. We kneeled. All we did was kneel.
Right.
And you guys about had a titty attack. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's just like, it doesn't matter what we do. You're always going to be upset when we say that we're upset with what you've always been doing.
Yeah,
And that's,
that could have been construed as an act of honor. I feel like if you're kneeling, like you're still honoring the flag, but
no,
yeah,
there was no honor in the meal. Don't hold that.
no, no, that was backlash.
No,
Okay, I have my first
no,
faux pas.
no. There was definitely, when we were kneeling because when you pledge allegiance to the flag, you are pledging your nationalism to America.
Right.
And I think the point of us kneeling is that we do not, like, we don't like or pledge our allegiance to a country that does not give and excuse my French, give a
Sure.
fuck about us.
Sure.
You know, like, and you've shown that you don't give a fuck about us. And like, there's few, like, I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of white friends, I have a lot of mixed friends. My roommate was right. Well, she just moved out. She was really afraid of the pandemic. I went to Texas, actually.
Yeah.
But the point is, we are not here for all of that. And I can speak on behalf of so many Black people when I say that we just want to live. We just want to do normal things. We like want to freaking go jogging without being chased down like animals.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not going to lie, like, you know, in every race, there are bad apples. And I think that that's what a lot of people are trying to say when they talk about the good cops. And I do respect the good cops, and I know that they're good cops. But the problem is there's so many bad cops, and they have so much power, and they have so much will, and they can do so much that it is hindering and scary.
Yeah.
That have someone with that much power, the freedom to kill, the license to kill for no reason. But, you know,
yeah,
that's my thought on it.
no, yeah. We did have a similar, when you're talking earlier about the protests, we had a similar thing where people were protesting the lockdown up in like the capital, like California, Sacramento. And they had the same thing. It was, in the beginning, it was all nice. Even the cops weren't wearing masks or anything or social distancing. But then they like switched out, and then they switched in the SWAT team looking cops. And they started just like inching forward, and they were like starting to like arrest mothers, and it was just so off. And like, what do you do? We're just protesting. Like, we're not, yeah. So,
like, on the other, like, everyone's saying, you know, this is the start of a race war. And I mean, is it? Because truthfully, will we be able to win? We're civilians at the end of the day.
no, and I don't think there wants to be, the good people, there's definitely more good people than bad people in the world. And I don't think that no one wants war. But it's more about the opportunists that are trying to just like, there's always, in any conflict, you need a third person, you need a third party. So that third party is having fun.
Ugly.
Yeah. Cause I mean, I've been on tons of campuses where, you know, race ain't no thing, but, and I mean, I don't know if this makes me an idiot. I mean, I love, one of the best songs I wrote was a song called I Want to Be Black. I wrote this song in like 2005, and it was just like having fun, pop culture references, anthemic, love it. And
go on.
I don't do it. It's like, it's not making fun of
blackfacing.
No, I'm not Justin Trudeauing it or Jimmy Falloning or whatever. I'm not impersonating Chris Rock in it. I did learn my lesson though. I mean, I as a comedian, as an early comedian, you take risks, and I knew that, you know, some of that song had to be rewritten after its initial stage. So I was like,
bars, is that?
I know it doesn't fly. It doesn't fly in public sometimes. So you gotta remix it, and you always do that as a comedian. You gotta remix it. But,
well, let me get 4 bars. Let me hear the song.
Oh, it's amazing. It's on iTunes. It's like, I want to be black as the first African Jew. I want to be black. Apollo should have won in Rocky 2. Mr. T should have won in Rocky 3. Why they got to kill Apollo in Rocky 4? Rocky 5 never happened, but in Rocky Balboa, black fighter won. There you go. Boom. And then they got back.
Oh,
and then Creed. We got two films of Creed after that. Yeah. No, yeah. Actually, I've played that song in an all black poetry club. It was great. It was a big hit.
That's funny.
And
no, I think there's actually a touchy subject with that, because a lot of times, a lot of these people
Yeah.
love our race, love our culture. They love our music. They love our dance styles. They love our hairstyles. Look at Kim Kardashian and her braids. Girl,
Right.
you know your hair don't braid like that. Like they're always culture appropriating, but they don't want to protect us. And I think that that's what's so disgraceful about like stuff like that. Like don't want, like they say it, everybody wants to be black, but nobody wants to be black.
Right.
And there's so much weight in that statement, because why is it that you're okay with listening to our music? Why is it that you're okay with wearing the clothes that we wear and you see us as this fad, but you
Right.
don't see our injustices, and you're so blind to, you know, well, as I've been saying, the covert racism.
Right.
Like I just don't get it.
That's I did write it. Yeah, I even wrote a second song that I don't even want to play it in public yet. But it's like it's the whole concept of like you can call me like a nerd, you can call me a loser, awkward, but don't call me racist because I have one black friend. And I don't. I have more, but I don't know if I can get away with that in a public place. That's
That's
more just
actually
writing to the concept.
that's actually a triggering statement these days.
Yeah.
People feeling like because they have one black friend that
Right.
justifies their actions, or having one black friend so you feel comfortable saying the N-word, or kind of like that's kind of like me using a passport for being black, you know, like,
Right.
oh well, this is my token, this is my entry, don't you see it?
Oh,
Like
I've
no.
had many a punchline where I've like my fraternity, like maybe it's all white, then there's this one black kid, and I'm like, number 6 thing about our chapter, we have him in our chapter, so we're not racist. Yay. And then everyone like cheers.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no,
I've
I ain't
definitely
buying that.
heard that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name any frats, but yeah,
No.
and I actually heard it in my sorority. They'd be like some of my sisters would be like, yeah, I could say the N-word because, you know, Prin is here. So, and
I ain't going near that. I have a restraining order against the N-word. I'm not going with it. I'm not.
Oh my God. Can we talk about how I believe thug is the new N-word?
It's strange. It's like, cause you had Obama used it during the Baltimore riots a few years back, and then Trump used it. It just, I mean, there's just some things you gotta just stay away from. It's rough. It's rough because
Yeah,
it has
I
the
just think because
connotation.
it's such a, it holds so much weight on a type of person.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think stereotypes in general are really, you know, a tough thing to deal with. But that word thug and the way that Donald Trump used it, he was using it as a euphemism for another word that he wanted to fill in my opinion,
Okay.
to talk about the types of people. And it's just, I was saying that the word thug coming from a president is such a triggering word for
Right.
an entire race who's already hurting. And I think truthfully, his response to this entire situation has just been, it's still sickening because
Yeah.
you're our president and you should not be this way. You are supposed to be the one uniting us and unifying us,
Yeah.
and kind of trying to find the middle.
Yeah.
But he's been talking that talk, you
Yeah.
know,
Pretty
and
partisan.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really scary that this is the world that we're living in. And like, I don't know what's going to happen in 2020. Like what's next? We had killer hornet bees. We had a pandemic. We lost Kobe Bryant. Like 2020 is ass.
It is.
It is such a bad year.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully once the election is over, things calm down and
God, the election, I forgot.
that's the whole thing. I think it's just all this, it's weird timing. It's all kind of coming to a head here. But you know.
Oh my God. What'd you think about Joe Biden's comment to Charlemagne?
Oh, you ain't like, yeah. Oh man. It's kind of, it's funny because like I have some black Republican friends, and there's even some like black Republican talking heads I'm pretty impressed with. I mean, I don't know if you don't like her. I've been pretty impressed with what Candace Owens has been saying. I don't know if you know her or what she's been saying.
No, I don't. What she's been saying.
She's right wing. She's heavy right wing, but she's not as much of a turnoff if you listen to like a strict right winger. Like she has this like empathy and this like down to earthness, and she has a sense of humor kind of built into everything, where she's just she kind of tries to open people up to that stereotype with what Joe Biden said. Like, if you're black, you have to vote for me. That's just beginning and end. So
well, I mean, yesterday she tweeted, Is this
But
what she said?
Candace Owens doesn't pull any punches though. She'll
Oh,
sometimes she said some nasty stuff
well, she
that's
said
rough.
Democrats are scum, and that was last night. De Blasio's daughter was arrested at a protest in NYC for barricading traffic and refusing to
Right.
move. Democrats are scum. Vote them out. First of all, how does that correlate?
No,
How does that correlate?
she definitely has. They're not all pretty pictures.
Yeah, I
But some of the stuff,
guess
like if
that's
she ever
her
hear her
reason.
like testify in front of Congress, um, she's powerful. I mean, she's a powerful Black woman. So I mean, I'd love to see her speak in person, but
Wow.
I obviously don't want conflict. That's the
I'm
thing.
a huge Angela Rye fan. I think that she is my girl. Do you know who
Yeah,
she is?
I
Uh,
don't know her. Where's she based?
she's she's like one of those talking heads on CNN.
Yeah,
She's an American woman, and she
yeah,
speaks mainly on the Black agenda.
yeah,
And she's for trying to push our agenda. And
yeah,
if you've ever seen her in any of those debates on CNN, I mean,
yeah.
she can put a man in his place.
Nice.
I'm just like, wow, that woman's strong.
Those are
But
great.
yeah, I like her a lot. But just reverting back to that Joe Biden statement, I just
Yeah, what do you
I
think
just
when you
think
heard it? Was it
I
just
just don't think that that's something that you should say.
yeah, he's just trying to
I just don't think-
impress,
Like
he's
panhandling, don't do it.
yeah.
Like, that's not how you're gonna get us. Firstly, don't call me out because we're not even too fond of you right
Yeah.
now.
He
So
he was I feel like he was almost like trying to like do his Trump shtick during that interview. Like
I
I could talk like off the top of my head and
no, I
I
think
don't
he's
know.
doing what we talked about earlier, which is I had a Black friend, and for him it was Obama. So he's like, I
Yeah,
have a Black friend, guys
that's
like
right.
me. And I'm just like, no, dude, I don't know you. I knew Obama. I don't
See, I
really.
wonder what happened if I played that new song I didn't the one Black Friend song and I played it from like just something Joe Biden wrote and I want to just play it for him for you guys. And I
He
can and
probably would vibe.
I make up in the song that my friend's name is Martin, but I can make it up like my friend's name is Barack and I could that could make
Oh
it okay. It would be I wouldn't know I would need to I did play it once for a crowd that was 20 people, mostly white, and it definitely like tightened them up like right away. Like
Oh my
we
goodness.
can't. But that's the thing.
Well,
Like there's
send me
such.
the lyrics and let me proofread them,
I
just in
did because
case.
that's what I did. That's what I did. I asked like a few of my Black friends like, what do you think of this?
Offensive?
Because I know it's. I don't even think it's offensive. I think it's more about standing up. It's a tongue in cheek song. I'm not like a heavy comedian. I'm not gonna like. I'm not off to get myself like suspended on Twitter. But
Mm-hmm.
it's the point of it is like it's just like me tongue in cheek standing up for it's like I sing about attending a BLM event in the song. Like I'm doing it. I'm there. Like I'm with you guys.
Can I ask, what does it feel like for you to support the BLM movement? Do you support the BLM movement?
I
Have you supported movements
I haven't
specifically?
gone to like BLM events, but I mean, I have no
Virtually.
yeah, virtue. I mean, I have and I appreciate I just want I don't know like what I want to definitely have actions. That's the thing. I want
Mhm.
us to definitely whatever we want, I want us to do it and I want us to do it with some like an action plan where I mean, I understand why you're saying like you understand the vandalism. I wish there's a way to
Mhm.
do it without the
Mhm.
vandalism, or if there was a way maybe to show up, or even like say like we're at a public event and then all of a sudden everyone at the same time holds up a sign, or everyone at the
Yeah.
same time like puts something over their head, or something like that
Mhm.
could be more powerful. Like I feel like like you see like I wish like LeBron maybe like stood up more for like in when that whole China NBA thing was going on, it was a human
Mhm.
rights thing. And right now what
Mhm.
we're dealing with is a human rights thing. And I just
Yeah.
feel like we all have these native human rights that are being overlooked.
Mhm.
In California, I went through all 30, written by Eleanor Roosevelt, Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Mhm.
California is lucky if they're abiding by 10 of them.
Oh
So
man.
so I just think it all
But
comes down to
imagine
like,
those rural cities, how many they're actually abiding by. I'm actually afraid to travel
sure,
or move out of New York, like because
sure,
well, not move out of New York, but if I do move out of New York, I would only be moving to another city because
right,
I don't think that we would be safe in other states. I had a friend who she lived in a deeper part of West Virginia, and she was my roommate at the time, and she was like, you should visit my house, it's a lot of fun, it's a beautiful town. She's
yeah,
like, I was like, well, how many Black people are in the town? I have
yeah,
to ask because I
yeah,
need to know. And she was like, oh, well, there were a couple of Black families there, but there was an incident, and so the town ran them out. But you're gonna be with me, so it's gonna be
Yeah. Yeah.
hold that. I'm not
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Why did you say that in the same breath? Are you bugging? No, I'm not coming. I wouldn't go on principle. Like, but it's just like that's really how it is. Like where we were where our campus was, there was like a back road, and when you drove on a back road for about 5 minutes, you
Yeah.
actually just see what, in my opinion, looked like an entire, like, I don't know, neo-Nazi,
Damn.
KKK like setup. There were tents,
Yeah.
and there were like lots of Confederate flags
Yeah.
just hanging like in the woods, and it looked like a hangout ground. And this was 10 minutes away from our campus where they're now recruiting more black students. I
Right.
went to so many town hall meetings to try to fight removing them. I was
Right.
like, I don't think that they should be this close to the campus, because while we're safe on campus, what's going to happen when I drive right out to get food, you know?
Right.
Trying to go to Kroger's and I'm getting got, you know? Like, I was just like, this is not something, like, when you are trying to recruit and create this like diverse and you know, integrated space, you need to think about all of the facets of what you're trying to do, and that does include, you know, at least at the very point, like 10 minutes away, you know, what might be 10 minutes away. And if there's a group of people and I've heard them chanting,
Mm-hmm.
I would not drive after midnight on those dirt roads. Like, you would not catch me. But that's our reality, and I think that that's what people don't understand, that while there's so many people in America who can just travel freely, we are
Yeah.
not one of them, because there's this, you know, underlying fear from
Sure.
both cops and, you know, civilians.
Right. And it's a weird balance because you want it to just be how you be, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, don't you Bill, oh man, Bill O'Reilly's such a piece of work, but like don't be like, oh, it's great that you're here with us, isn't it great? Like, they'll like pander, like don't.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like don't be like
Yeah.
like you're some exhibit somewhere. It's like you just gotta treat human conduct is what's needed at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's the
will
thing.
say, sorry, what's
Yeah,
good
go ahead.
about me is that so I've done lots of internships and I've been able to live and travel in different places. So
Mhm.
I've lived in Maine, I've lived in West Virginia, I've traveled all throughout Ohio, throughout Pennsylvania. I've been in Georgia. I've been to many places throughout the U.S.
Mhm.
And I will say it is lighter than I guess it has been in the 60s. And
Yeah.
luckily, I have been one of those people, I guess, and this is going to sound so fucked up because I don't
Yeah.
want to be a person, but I'm that safe person
Right.
for a lot of my friends. Like, she's black, but she's that different kind of black
So you're
that,
the passport. Yeah.
always. And I don't mean to be, but
Yeah.
it's just, you know, that's my personality. I'm a dope individual. And
Yeah.
like,
It's not your fault. You're awesome.
hey, like, I mean, what can I say?
And
But
I know, and the thing I didn't like when I saw I was okay with people protesting like before, even I'm okay with the protesting of the marching of this, and I was okay with the protesting for opening up the businesses, but I did
like,
not like. It's never a good look when you do see those Confederate flags, like when they're bringing the Confederate flags and you're bringing, you know, you're just
it's
dressing
a
to the
giant
extreme.
FU to them. Also, can we just talk about how are they so appalled that we're burning things down when the KKK has like a long history
Yeah,
of burning buildings, churches,
sure.
and put people in them. Like, they didn't
Sure.
even like. So it's just like Tamika. What is her last name? Is it Tamika Rice? I think her last name. I don't want to get her last name wrong, but she's like an activist that's been
Yeah.
speaking out, and she has like this really video that's gone viral
Yeah.
where she's talking about the need for change, obviously. But she said that violence is something that we learned from,
Right.
oh, it's starting to rain. She's like, violence is something that is learned, and it was taught to us by you guys. So if you want us to do better, you have to do better. And
Yeah.
I felt that on such a deeper level, because it's like, yeah, like I think everybody needs to do better, not just like white people. Black people need to do better. And I think because I guess we should probably wrap up because it's about to
Oh, it's
pour down
raining.
on
Okay.
me. Yeah, but I
Two more
want to say
questions. Then
one more
go
thing.
ahead.
Oh, do you want to ask me
No,
first?
go ahead. I wanted to talk the movie Get Out. I loved the movie for all the reasons I think Jordan Peele loved the movie, but I don't know, what did you think?
Oh, I love the movie, and I thought that it tackled on so many different issues of interracial relationships and intent. And I
Right.
think it really kind of talked about like malicious intent.
Yeah.
But if you actually really truly think about it, they wanted to be Black.
Right.
They all wanted the genes, and they wanted, like our bodies, because we were so physically fit. And it really leaned on exactly what we were talking about this entire time, where people want to be Black, but they don't want to be Black.
Right.
Um, like, I think that our athleticism, you see all of the athletes here that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I'm upset about, and I think he shed light on, is that Black people truly are exploited
Yeah.
for, and have been throughout all of slavery. The only thing that you guys can see us for is our physical brute strength and our fat, our singing abilities, and our skills. And you don't ever actually take the time to get to know us. But I will
Yeah,
say
that's
there are a
cool
lot
when
of
we
people.
find those. That's like when we find those like important like pundits on TV that are like
Mhm,
strong and intelligent and of color. I think that it's great because it whatever can shatter narratives and
mhm.
stereotypes is
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
And to let those stereotypes happen and not like be quick to cancel something, because
Yeah.
that's the thing. Language is like has gained so much traction since social media has come to the
Mm.
forefront, to where it's a shame because what about ideas, what about like putting something there? That's what we need. Like, God, we gotta like put the principles there and put the reform and the justice and all that stuff there. So
What I like, or what I wish would happen more of, and I know for me, I've done a lot of internships. So a lot of the internships I did were to diversify a specific area that was typically a white space.
yeah.
And so the goal was to like have us come in and join and kind of learn that
Yeah.
all of our cultures and all of our viewpoints can truly help each other. And I think that that's what, is so beautiful when we have like such good cohesion and good diversity. Everybody has a specific viewpoint on something, and everybody has something that they can gain and learn from each other. And like, all we want is a chance to like show that, you
Yeah.
know, show that we are worthy, show that, we are worth something more than what you think we are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, I
This,
definitely look at that. But
this
I
is
think
awesome.
Michael,
You got to go. So it's raining now where you are.
yeah, it is.
All
I
right.
was just going to finish by saying something
Yes.
that I think they've been saying on the media, with the call to action. I think that what I would like, a lot of my friends, and maybe you
Yeah.
and people, white people, is to, behind closed doors, start speaking up and telling people, hey, don't do that. Like, that's racist. Like that, like, because people, we don't see it as much unless it's like disrespectful, but I'm sure you have that uncle, that cousin, and
Oh
you don't want
yeah.
to stir up the pot. But if more people were able to like try to unteach these hateful things, I think that we would really be progressing along. And I think we have. I know that there are a lot of people who are. So if we can continue to do that, I think we could be on our road to recovery.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, right. This was an amazing first conversation between us, Princess.
Definitely. I
We
know.
just
Thank you. Thank you
It's
for
been a good.
having me.
Oh, this was excellent. We'll tell the world. So this was a great conversation. So I won't segue to be like, so what do you recommend on Netflix?
No, honestly,
Yeah.
The Hate You Give, I don't think it's on Netflix though. The Hate You Give, I think it's on HBO.
Oh,
Um, there was this movie, it's a documentary about, I'll give you a list. I'm gonna have to give you a
yeah.
list, so that I get the
But
titles. I don't want to butcher them.
and is
Dear
there
White.
anything you want to promote from yourself or anything like we should check out if I have people watching this? Like, so
Oh,
Princess says, check
sure.
this out. Do we go? Is there anything of you personally you want to promote or Black Lives Matter you want
I'm actually in the process of curating my own podcast, called Pardon
to?
My and it's going to be a podcast talking about everything under the sun, music, politics, and kind of like the inner thoughts of being a Black girl in New York City. So
Very nice.
if anyone's interested in that, it should be launching by June 30th. So it's pardon underscore my underscore SHH. And once it's up and running on Instagram, you guys can definitely follow me and check me out.
Love it. Love it. Oh yeah, and also I'll get your social media after this.
Definitely.
Cool. Well, this was awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast. You
Well, thank
are
you for having me, Evan. I appreciate it.
excellent. Glad we got to do this with trees in the background.
I know. Look at that.
Look at that. Boom. All right.
All
Cool.
right. Well, take it easy.